Major League Baseball season only a few weeks old, and it already makes no sense. Right now, the NL Central has every team over 500, including the Pirates leading the division, and the Cardinals on a win streak. That's not normal. Meanwhile, the Dodgers, Braves, and Padres still look like contenders, but even they aren't running away from anything. And there's the bigger storyline. Parity is everywhere. The Mets are collapsing, the Phillies look flat, and the Astros are dealing with injuries. But teams like the Marlins, Tigers, and Rays are hanging right in the mix. The season doesn't have separation, it has chaos. So the question is simple: is this the most competitive MLB season we've seen in years? Or are we just watching early season noise before the real contenders take over? We're a few weeks into the MLB season, and the league already feels upside down. Super teams are still near the top, but so are unexpected contenders. Slumping stars are dragging teams down. And maybe the biggest storyline, the NL Central looks like the best division in baseball right now. That alone tells you how strange this season is shaping up to be. Let's talk about the NL Central.
Yeah, no, historically, the NL Central hasn't been exactly dominant. In fact, there was a time where an 83-win team would win the division. Right now, all teams, all five of them, are over 500. The Milwaukee Brewers are still doing what they do, winning quietly. The Cubs are currently surviving injuries. The Reds are winning tight games at an unsustainable pace. The Pirates are surprisingly leading the division. And the Cardinals are on a winning streak. Not something that we would have had. This isn't just balance. This is chaos with structure. The real question is whether or not this holds, or if one of these teams eventually separates like we've seen in past seasons.
Yeah, let's take a look at the power rankings right now. At the top of baseball, things are more predictable. The Dodgers are still the standard. Atlanta looks like the back to elite form despite injuries. San Diego getting dominant bullpen production, and the New York Yankees are thriving off young talent development. Top tier still exists, but it feels less separated than usual. Even elite teams are being challenged more consistently, and we've already seen some early breakout storylines in the first 22 games or so.
Yeah, Shohei Ohtani's extending his on base streak. Austin Riley looks like he's gotten back to being Austin Riley again. Bryce Terang quietly putting up MVP level production. Jose Ramirez looking like an MVP candidate in Cleveland again. So the Stars are starting to heat up. But the difference this year is how many mid-tier players are breaking out alongside those stars to help the teams overall.
Now, in terms of teams that are feeling the pressure a little bit, New York Mets are in a free fall, and we don't have this much time on our regular show to talk about it. But what's the state of the Mets, Frank, on Monday, April 20th?
Nuclear apocalypse.
Pain.
Right now. Yeah.
Suffering.
Well,
the inflatable Mr. Met that was deflating on the ground that I sent you over the weekend.
I mean, I don't know how Carlos Mendoza still has a job. I really, really
or
don't.
David Stearns, for that matter.
And David Stearns, if he gets let go, it's going to be at the end of the season. You're not going to go in a completely different direction with an organization at the beginning of the year. To lose 11 straight games in the way they have, and they've done it against Oakland is one of the teams they've lost to, now getting swept by Chicago. The stupid reasoning behind Mendoza not walking Nico Horner on Sunday, who ends up getting you the hit when you have Michael Busch, who's hitting $164 sitting behind him, putting the double play in order. I mean, it just makes no sense whatsoever. And you can't even say it's because Juan Soto's not there. It's because they won the first 3 games without him. So I have no idea what is going on with the Mets. They just look completely and utterly lost with no leadership whatsoever.
I feel like the Mets go through stretches like this almost every single season. 11 straight is a tough stretch, and that is a way to not make the playoffs. You don't clinch the playoff spot in April, but you sure as heck can lose it.
Yeah, they haven't lost 11 games in a row since 2004. And I'll give that 2004 team a lot of credit. They have something they didn't have something that this team does. Talent. They had nothing. If you want to talk about the black hole in the history of Met baseball, it's 2002 to 2005. 2005 is when they started to turn around. Think of the 2002, 3, and 4 Mets as like the 2011, 12, and 13 Padres. Just historically bad. This team is now following in that trend, and since August of last year have been the worst team in baseball with 2 virtually completely different rosters.
You know what else doesn't look very good is the Phillies. The Phillies are looking slow and inconsistent. They're looking, you know what they're looking? They're looking old. The
And that's
Phillies
not
are
even a
looking
saving grace.
old. And so, like, as much as, these contracts that get handed out, everybody criticizes maybe the Padres contract. The Phillies have a lot of these contracts too with older players than the Padres have. And the only team that has really found the fountain of youth is the Dodgers in terms of like these aging veterans never not getting, better. Philly, I mean, they're starting to see Father Time rear his ugly head early in the season. Astros are awful. They're obviously dealing with major pitching injuries, which definitely affects them, but
And you also
they
have,
might be digging themselves into a massive hole that they can't climb their way out of.
and one of the bigger storylines that I saw that's looking very, very dangerous for the Astros is the fact that Tatsuya Imai is saying that he's having a hard time
Adjusting to playing in the United States.
Yeah, adjusting to just the American way. So he's having a culture shock as well as a talent shock in Major League Baseball.
Mariners also off to a pretty disappointing start. Their offense, they can't really get their offense going at all. We saw that team here for 3 days, and the Padres, swept them in 3 games. But the collapse at the end, giving up 5 runs to the Padres in the 9th inning, didn't help them out either. But they're not looking very good. And these teams better be careful. They're going to play their way out of a playoff spot here in April. Surprise teams emerging. Tampa Bay continues to develop hidden talent all the time. Tigers still dangerous despite inconsistent play. They're surprising kind of in like a disappointing way. I think they've been kind of disappointing. A's are showing real offensive upside. You and I don't find that to be too much of a surprise. They have good young talent.
Mm-hmm.
And the Marlins proving their hot start is not a fluke. We also were kind of in on the Marlins to start the year. So this is where the parity really shows up. Teams that used to be automatic losses are now series threats for a lot of different teams. And so it's been close so far. I mean, shoot, the Rockies took 2 out of 3 over the weekend for the Dodgers. They're trying to, take 3 out of 4. I doubt it. They'll probably split the series on Monday. But you know what? The Rockies have just as many wins against the Dodgers this weekend as they did all of 2025. So you know what? Maybe
Progress.
there is some more parity in Major League Baseball this year.